I have a potential $5,000 deal for my AI automation agency. In this video, I'm gonna break down all of this. You're gonna see who this client is, what we are potentially gonna make for him, and what my plan is for actually building this out. I wanna show the behind the scenes of when a new deal actually enters the pipeline, how I handle it. So if you guys want to follow along, make sure you stick through in this video. First of all, I do wanna say if you are new to this YouTube channel, my name is Brock Messerich. I'm an AI entrepreneur and I created this YouTube channel to essentially document the journey of me starting an AI agency, and I explore different ways to make money with the new AI tech that is coming along. Obviously, we are on the verge of a brand new industry with AI, and it's gonna make a bunch of millionaires, and there's a ton of different business opportunities coming up. So I wanted to create this channel just to document this and have it as a guide for myself and for you guys to follow along with, see what works, what doesn't work, take you on live sales calls, all that sort of stuff. So if you wanna follow along with somebody that's actually putting themselves out there and growing their agency in a documented way, this channel is going to be for you. So make sure you subscribe, like this video, and it really means a lot. All right, so now let's talk about this deal and exactly what it is, how it's going down, all this sort of stuff. So as of now, it is currently Wednesday, and I actually had the sales call with this potential client on Monday. And so when we spoke, I actually didn't record the call for privacy reasons for the client, but this potential client is looking for a big AI system within their company. So essentially they are a recruiting business and they help businesses, especially like people within the transportation industry, hire CDL drivers and all this sort of stuff. And so they're looking for a way to actually automate the process of when they send these cold emails and having these responses automated with AI. So he came to me because he's exploring these different ways they could actually build this out. And he's actually worked with a couple different softwares to actually potentially build something like this out, but he'd rather build out his own AI model. And so that's where he came to me, and he wants to lean on my expertise. So let me break down exactly like the pieces of this now. So first of all, on the call, it sounds like he has two different ways he wants to go about this. So he's got a big picture vision of what this would look like. So obviously, if he could save his sales reps for his company time, that's exactly why we're doing this. If he could touch more people without having to have the human interaction with the sales reps actually interacting with these leads, then that's exactly what he's looking for. So initially, he has an idea to deploy this to 10 of his sales reps. And on the call, as we were discussing more and more, he kind of had the idea to, okay, like, could we build this out for the director of sales for the company, see how it works for him, and then once we build out like an initial prototype or proof of concept that it actually works, then we could go ahead and deploy this to the rest of his sales reps, the other 10 sales reps. So that's kind of what we agreed on. And now what I need to do is there's a whole bunch of stuff that has to go on the back end, right? So like, where does he want this deployed? He works with Salesforce as his CRM, but he's open to actually building out a different sales system. And that is where I came in and said, hey, I've actually built this out for people within Go High Level. We could actually go ahead and do that and it'd be pretty simple. And so he has agreed to actually building out this initial proof of concept and the prototype on Go High Level. So this is good news for me as an agency owner. If you've seen my previous videos, I've built a few things out like this through Go High Level. So one thing I do want to mention is on all of these sales calls, I actually have this thing called an Otter AI, and it essentially is a software where you could have this AI assistant join your meetings and essentially take notes. So I actually, after the call, I went over the transcription of the call and all this stuff. It's all categorized within this AI tool. So I suggest you guys use that if you guys are having discovery calls with leads or potential clients or talking to your actual clients. It's really helpful. So since that call, I've been studying and going over those notes because on the call, we talked about a lot. It sounds like there's a lot of stuff in the potential pipeline. And so what I've been doing the past few days is I've been sitting with those notes and I've been inside of Notion, which maybe I'll show you into here if there's not any information that, you know, I need to keep private. But I'm just basically building out kind of a framework for how I see this going down. Like, what different softwares are we going to use for this? What are the potential hurdles that I see with integrating this into his existing systems? All these different things, I like to throw that into a Notion template or into a Notion document so I could see all the things that are going on in my brain categorized and like written out. It's really good to just put those notes out on paper as you're building out these, either a prototype, a game plan for the client, and crafting a quote that you could actually send over to them. So that is the phase that I'm in now. I'm working on how complex is this going to be, and I'm just trying to figure out the ins and outs of how this is going to work. Now is where we need to talk about pricing. So on the discovery call, obviously I wasn't able to film that for you guys, but But on the discovery call, I made sure to ask, I was like, what's your budget for this? Because obviously this is going to be saving you guys a lot of time. You're going to get more touch points with your potential leads and drive you more business, obviously. And so it sounds like he has quite a big commitment into this. Like budget, it's nothing too crazy. I don't think this is going to be something that costs tens of thousands of dollars, but it sounds like he's open to having to invest a couple $1,000s into making the system run smoothly because it just really streamlined the process in his business. So that is something to you guys. When you guys are on these discovery calls, always make sure to ask, how valuable would this be to you? Is this something that completely changes your business and will be a game changer and save you guys time and increase revenue? Or is this something that it's just like a cool little tool, would be cool to have, you don't have too much money to throw at it? Because it's really important to extract that data on these calls, because otherwise you could just be wasting your time on a deal that has no potential, essentially, because their interest level is not too high. So now I want to talk to you a little bit about what are the potential hurdles I see in this project. And so these are some big things to focus on when you're building out your pricing and your quote that you send to your client, because I need to figure out like what are the potential problems we're going to run into, because that's one of the biggest things. You don't want to be wasting your time on a project that you underprice because you think it's going to be easy, but you're not thinking what are the potential things that could go wrong. So right here, some of the potential things that I see that could be a hurdle or a challenge is, what information do we need to train the AI model on? So how can we get sales scripts? How can we get information on the company? All these different things. How can we get documents on their sales process? Those are things that I asked him about in a follow-up email. Like, do you have a sales script already laid out? And it sounds like they do a little bit, but there's going to need to be some fine tuning there. So that's something that I'm going to have the client fill out and do. So that might cause a little bit of a friction point. But once that's worked out, it's necessary, because we need that information for the AI model to actually work and function properly. We want this thing to act as if it is a sales rep or it's the director of sales. How exactly can we add all that information into one place so we could train this AI model on all that information? So the next potential hurdle I see in this project is, how do we get the emails to be triggered? Because like I mentioned, this is going to be for like a warm/cold email campaign approach. So how do we get that initial trigger to where the AI then responds? Because if we're the ones sending out the initial email to these cold leads, obviously like it's tough to make the AI like create the initial first touch point of that email. And then like, how is all that triggered? So we're going to be doing this through Go High Level. So that's a way we could trigger it. And I think what we're going to have to do is, this client, we're going to have to set up with an initial email campaign. So what I mean by that is like, what's the first email going to be that's sent out? That's something that we're going to have to craft that with him. And instead of using the AI, it needs to be a pre-prompted email that is sent. And so there's the first one, and say they don't answer, then there's a follow-up sent, and then another follow-up. And how do we handle all of that? So all that's going to be done in Go High Level, which is why I suggested to do this with the client. But I'm going to have to work with him on crafting these first initial emails. And then once the user replies, that's when the AI is then triggered, because we could automate the process of the first initial email, obviously. But when it responds, then the AI just takes over and, answer all the questions and all that sort of stuff. So that's no problem. So that's a potential hurdle. I think it's not going to be too big of a deal though. So one of the other things is, how do we get the AI to respond, but we can allow human intervention? So say that new lead gets interested or whatever, and the AI is doing good, but you want to take over the conversation as a person instead of the AI responding. And so that's going to be a little bit of a hurdle that I'm seeing. Obviously, the point of this AI email cold sequences stuff, it's going to be to book appointments. So hopefully there is no need for a human to have to interact, because the AI is good enough to be able to say, would you like to schedule an appointment or a consulting call? And then it just, sends a link and they're able to book that way. But yeah, I'm just thinking out loud here. These are some of the things I could see that we could run into on this project. All right, so all that out of the way, these are things that I've been brainstorming on and just kind of thinking over in my head. So what's the game plan from here on out? Because the client wants to get started on this project pretty soon, which is good, because you want that sense of urgency from the person you're working with. So that's obviously good news. But from what I'm going to do now is, I'm going to show him a demo that I've actually built out inside of Go High Level prior for other clients, as well as I'm going to show him a white labeled dashboard that I actually build out for all of my clients. And so if you're interested, if you're an AI agency owner and you want to have a dashboard where you could give your clients a login and they could see all the conversations that go on with this chatbot, they could see all the leads that are captured, they could see the appointment schedule, all that sort of stuff. I use Stammer.ai, I white label it and sell it as my own software to my clients. So we're gonna be using Stammer and go high level for this. But like I said, I'm gonna create a demo to show to him to say, hey, this is something I built for a client for a similar use case. This is what it's gonna look like when we actually build this thing out for you. So I'm gonna do that on a call. I'm gonna hop on with him and just answer any of the questions he has regarding that. And then that's when I'm gonna pitch him with the price. Okay, so what is this gonna cost to actually build out? And so how I structure my pricing and how I'm going to for this deal is I have an initial fee to build all of this stuff out. So that usually ranges from like a couple $100 if it's really simple to a couple $1,000. And the initial payment, what I do is say for whatever reason, a project costs $5,000 to build this out based on my pricing. What I do is I get a half deposit once I start the project. So I'd take $2,500 once we start, and then $2,500 once it's deployed, everything's perfect, just so that way I'm not working for nothing. And I know at the end of the day, my time is going to be rewarded. You know, you don't want to waste your time building out a project and then the client ghosts you or whatever. So I get that initial deposit. So I think what I'm going to do, the pricing for this is, obviously we talked about building this out for his director of sales first, and then building a proof of concept, see how it works, creating iterations of that to just perfect this thing. So for that initial AI agent we're going to build out for the director of sales, it's going to be a total of $2,000. It's going to be $1,000 upon starting the project, $1,000 once it's actually implemented. And then from there, that actually sets the foundation for the rest of the build for his other sales reps. So obviously we need to test it out first with his director of sales. If it works, then I have a foundation built out. So then I could go ahead and pitch him and say, hey, we could deploy this to the rest of your sales reps. And what I'm thinking is it's going to be another $2,500 to pitch it to build this out for the rest of his people, because at least we have that initial infrastructure built out, and it's kind of just replicating that and just like making different iterations of that. So the initial work kind of gets done and placed on this first model we're building out for his director of sales. All right, guys, so there you have it. I know this video is all over the place, and I like to structure my content kind of just like me turning on a camera and discussing what's going through my brain as I work with these clients in these projects and that sort of stuff. So if you want to follow along with somebody that's like showing the behind the scenes of deals and like what's going through their brain, because I know it's a lot. And like if you're starting your agency, I felt this when I first started, and I still really feel it, honestly, after having, you know, done this for 6 months. But it's just like it's a tough terrain to navigate, because it's like there's no laid out strategy of like, here's exactly how you do this. It's like there's a lot of your brain races, and you have to find ways to kind of organize your ideas for these projects and stuff. So I hope you guys see value in this content of me just like throwing on my camera and just talking about a potential deal that I have and how I got it and what we're potentially building out and the hurdles that I see, all these different things, and how I price this and what goes through my brain in that regard. So yeah, guys, I really appreciate it if you guys stuck through to this point in this video. If you haven't already, please leave a like, leave a comment what you think. Do you think this is a cool potential deal? Do you think I'm charging enough? Do you think the client's gonna see value in this? And is there anything you would change along in the process? So make sure you guys are subscribed to get more content like this. And if you are an AI automation agency owner and you're looking for advice on how you could actually get deals in your pipeline like this, feel free, book a call below. I have a paid consulting call, so I could hop on for an hour. Of course, it costs a little bit of money just because, you know, I have a lot of other things going on and my time is pretty valuable. But if you're interested, that is out there. I've helped multiple people on those calls. They got a lot of value. As well as if you are a business owner and you want to find a way to actually build out one of these AI models for yourself and deploy it, whether it's inside of your business internally, or you want to automate your customer service, or you want to automate appointment booking for your sales reps, those sort of things, feel free, book a discovery call below. I could chat with you and hopefully build something out for you and automate things with AI, because AI is kind of the future. So thank you guys so much for following along in this video. Again, make sure you're subscribed. I really appreciate it. And I will update you guys with how this goes. Once I pitch him, maybe I'll take you on the live sales call. Who knows? Maybe I'll make another video doing a follow-up on how this deal went, if I close it, if I don't, all that sort of stuff. So just make sure you're following along. So thank you guys so much. Enjoy your day, and let's keep growing together. See ya.